Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1973 Winter Baseball Classic Tournament. We are in the second semifinal matchup before the finals. It's a battle between Missoula and Mississippi, and I'll just spare you the details. Missoula's up 3-0. They ran them out of Montana 2 straight, and then game 3 in Mississippi, they ran them out some more. They beat them 6-2. Not only that, but their ace of Missoula is Wilbur Wood, who pitched the last game of the previous series, so he hasn't pitched yet. Well, he's pitching today. Wilbur Wood, in a potential sweep game, the number 1 pitcher and 24-game winner of the White Sox at 73. He will face Mike Caldwell, the number 4 starter for Mississippi. Seems like a mismatch. We haven't seen many sweeps in this tournament. It's been a very competitive tournament. I want to look at this game number down here. I think the most games we've ever played in a Winter Baseball Classic is like 126 or 127. We're in game 123. Of course, the finals are at least 4 games, so it looks like we might set a quantity of games record, which would seem to indicate we have a lot of parity, and we've really balanced out these rosters to make as much competition as possible, even though the level of competition isn't the greatest. But balance is important for just more analysis, frankly, of more cards that need to be looked at. Eyeballs on these cards to figure out which ones you want to use in Summer League. Let's get started. Missoula at Mississippi. Leading off for Missoula is Paul Blair. 57 is a strikeout. Luis Alvarado, 2-7, pops a short. And Ted Simmons, 1-8, 's a base hit. Joe List's gotten hot recently. 46, single 1 at 11, and he lines out. Bottom of the first. For the Mississippi River Queens, Wayne Garrett. 1-6 is a walk. 1-6 against the lefty. I misread that. A single 1-2, 12, and actually he lines out on a 13. So that's a disappointing start. Tim Foley, 2-9, singles. Duke Sims, 1-3, strikeout, plus an injury. They lose. Duke, not going. This has not been a good series for this team. Looks like we have to bring in... Oh, my goodness. It doesn't really matter, does it? We need a right fielder. I guess we'll just bring in Jim Howarth. He's a 2-0. Can't complain about that. Could complain about the fact he doesn't have any hits on his card, I suppose. And with 2 outs, it's Frank Howard. 57 is a K. Top of 2, it's Dave Winfield. 66 is a base hit. Eric Soderholm having a nice tournament. 6'9", flies to center. Tony Taylor, 2-5, pops out. And with 2 outs, Ted Kubiak, 57, strikes out. Caldwell and Wood had the same template. That's almost looking at the same picture. They have very similar cards, the 5-4 template. Wood's a starter 8, Caldwell's a starter 7. Bottom of 2, Ken McMullen, 37's a K. Gorman Thomas, 111, right. Mickey Stanley, 1-2, pops short. Into the third, Dick Billings, 53. Right X in right field, you have, well, you just brought in the defensive replacement for the injured Sims, a 2-0, and he makes the catch. Paul Blair, 67's a K. And Alvarado pops the first. Bottom of the third, it's Bill Stein. 39 is a K. Duffy Dyer, 53. Comebacker to the mound. And with 2 outs, Wayne Garrett, again, this time it is a walk on 1-8. And with 2 outs, Tim Foley, 1-9, single 1 at 12. And he gets it. 2 on, 2 outs, Jimmy Howarth. In for the injured Duke Sims. Rolls in the pitcher's card. Good for him. But it's Wood's pitcher's card, so it's a fly ball to right. Let's put that in the correct box, which is down there. We go to the fourth. Scoreless. Ted Simmons, 68, flies left. Joe List, 1-7, another strikeout. And Dave Winfield, 2-3, ground ball to third. Well, if you don't score any more runs, you're not going to win the series, Missoula, even though you're up 3-0. Duke, it's Frank Howard leading off. 1-9 is a ground to the third. Ken McMullen, 68, center. Gorman Thomas, 110, strikes out. Eric Soderholm, 110 is a base hit. Tony Taylor, 2-9, lines out. Ted Kubiak, 57 is a strikeout. And Dick Billings, 59, is a roller to second base. A nice start from Mike Caldwell. I think his card is up. He's with the Giants, and they have to decide which of the 4 years they want to pick up his card, pick up a contract for. Mickey Stanley, 2-7's a walk. Beer Stein, 110 left. Bill Stein was always nicknamed Beer Stein, and then at a certain point, every guy named Bill, I just started calling Beer, regardless of what the last name was, which took the fun out of the nicknaming. So I'm bringing it back just for Beer Stein, no other beers. Duffy Dyer, 62, second X. Tony Taylor's a 3-16, and they get a break with a base hit. We have some base runners here in the bottom of the fifth. Wayne Garrett trying to reach again. 2-3 is a 4-6-3 double play, and now the folks in Mississippi are getting annoyed. They're down 0-3. Their pitcher's doing great. Their offense is stinking up the joint. Speaking of that, we have this wonderful, they call Alabama the Crimson Tide shot from Alabama, Mississippi here. I forget where this is taken, Mississippi or Alabama. Nice picture. And then this one is the big mountain of Missoula by the college town. Or the college, I say, the river that runs through Missoula and the bridge there. All right, 6th inning, scoreless. Frankly, the home team has sent just one more batter to the plate. It's Paul Blair. 110 is a roller to short. Alvarado, second X. Your second baseman is Wayne Garrett. Ooh, 4E30. Ooh, but he makes the play. Ted Simmons, 68. Flags left. Mike Caldwell saying, not on our field. Ain't going to get a 4-game sweep. Not if I'm out there. Bottom of the 6th, Tim Foley, base hit. Jimmy Howarth. 1-9 is a 6-4-3 double play. That's a shame. For Duke Sims, that probably would have been a walk. Yeah. 2 outs, Frank Howard. 46 for the big guy. He's a base hit. And Ken McMullen. 2-6 for Ken McMullen's a 2-run dinger. The way this thing's going, that might do it. 2-run homer, Ken McMullen. Member of the Dodgers, was with the Angels. I think he's on waivers right now. Gorman Thomas, 37's a strikeout. Well, 2-0 home team. Mike Caldwell, starter 7. Breaking inning, here we go. Joe List, 2-9. Rolls a third. Something like that. Dave Winfield, 64, third X. Third base, you got McMullen, the 3-37. Makes the play. And with 2 outs, what do we have? We have a 3-hitter? Yeah. Eric Soderholm, 55. Triple on a 4, base hit. And your tie run is Tony Taylor. 1-9 is a fly ball to left field. It's the Mike Caldwell show. A 2-0 game. Stretch time here from Mississippi. And we have been enjoying John Lee Hooker. Boogie Chillin' LP of 1972 with extra stuff. A lot of this was live in San Francisco in 62. My goodness, this is a live recording, so that crowd has got to be whisper quiet at the entranced by Mr. Hooker there. Bottom of the 7th inning. You can barely hear the crowd noise, if any. 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th. Wilberwood will continue and face Mickey Stanley. 2-11, 5's left. Beer Stein, 4-7, single 1-9, collects it. Duffy Dyer, 1-8, pops the third, and with 2 outs, Wayne Garrett, 1-3, flies to right field. 8th inning. It'll be Ted Kubiak. 36 short. Dick Billings, 46. Single 1 to 11, gets it. Tie run is leadoff hitter Paul Blair. 5'11", second X, second baseman. Garrett's a 40-30. Ouch. Fielder's choice. Speedy Blair at first. B Steeler, not going to go anywhere down to 2. Alvarado, 63. Short X. And Tim Foley's a 2E34. I don't know what happened to that E rating, but the range is still there. He makes the play. Well, Wilburwood, they'll just continue. It's just a 2-0 game. Tim Foley, brisk game. Rolls the third. Howarth, 1-9, short. And Frank Howard, 47, single 1 to 9, cannot get it. Norm Cash will take over at first base for Frank Howard. A couple big dudes right there in their own. We go to the 9th. Here we are, folks. 2-zip. And trying to make a comeback. Here's step 1, possibly. It's Ted Simmons leading off in the 9th. 2-8. Pops the second. Joe Liss, 1-6 is a K. And with 2 outs, Dave Winfield, bouncer to third. What a lifeless. I think Missoula once they went up 3-0. They had a little bit too much partying the night before, even though they hadn't won anything yet. And that is a complete game shutout for Mike Caldwell. 2-run homer by Ken McMullen. Ball game. That's it. You got a quick one, folks. You don't normally get a quick one when we do broadcasts. You normally slow it down, but no reason to. These guys have trains to catch or something. So game 5 will also be here in Mississippi. It'll be Ray Corbin for Missoula, and it'll be Nolan Ryan for Mississippi. Hey, don't rule out a comeback. You got Lynn Nolan Ryan on the mound. Couple of complete games. 1009, 0108, 2705, 2705, 0826, 2608. Well, Wilburwood did his part for the sweep, and his team just didn't do anything. They just did nothing. I mean, you're going to have inconsistencies like that in this Winter Baseball Classic because you got a mixed bag of cards there. Sure, you got an occasional Hall of Famer, you got some All-Stars, but they're sprinkled in with some undrafted free agents, guys who haven't been in the league, some AAA kind of guys, extra player cards, stuff like that. Let's take a look at the stats at this point for these two teams. So Mississippi's now 11-9. They're hitting 259, 353 ERA, all reasonable numbers. Mike Caldwell, he's 4-0, 2 complete games, 5 runs in 32 innings. 140 ERA. If you're the Giants, you're loving that. Plus, Caldwell has been in the bullpen because you can't find a spot in that Giant rotation with the aging Juan Marichal and so forth. It's time that Caldwell gets to strut his feathers a little bit for the Giants. Offensively, Norm Cash is 6 home runs and 20 at-bats. He's still, still drinking from the fountain of youth with the Tigers. Duke Sims is 14 RBIs in 20 games. Decent stats for these squads. How about Missoula? Are they better statistically? They're 13-6. They're hitting 277 with a 248 ERA. The answer is yes and yes. Wilburwood's 4-3, scratching his head as he's not getting the support. This is the first time that Wilburwood may not pitch on 2 days rest or have that option. I think it expires after the 72 card. He's given up just 19 earned runs in 50 innings. Still very good. Bill Hands has been a story. He's pitching great, as is Steve Arlen. And offensively, Ted Simmons having a really nice tournament, 6 homers and 15 RBIs. And Simmons and Soderholm are carrying the offense. Simmons is hitting 377, and Eric Soderholm even better. Yeah, Eric Soderholm's tearing it up, hitting 417. How's our boy Joe Liss doing? After a dreadful start, he started to turn it on a little bit. Not really, 16 for 76. So I'll take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll give you the team that gets eliminated. We'll look at the 20 cards of that team. Can Mississippi make The 0-3 comeback. I will say it happens more often in Strat-O-Matic than it does in IRL MLB, Boston. So yeah, I mean, it does happen in Strat when I do this stuff. I probably get more 0-3 series comebacks than I do no-hitters. I'm pretty sure I would say that is the case. I can't clinically prove that, but it just seems like from past experience, it's so hard to get a no-hitter in Strat-O-Matic. But coming back down 0-3, it's happened. Maybe not in a championship series, maybe like in a regular season series. But. All right, we'll be back with more details, so stay tuned. All right, baseball fans, so who is not going to the finals? And not really a surprise, Mississippi could not pull off the comeback. They did win a fifth game. I mean, they did win game 5. Sent it back to Missoula, but there was no cure for their pain. They lost game 6 to Bill Hands, having a nice tournament for the Missoula, which means Halifax and Missoula will be in the finals. And talk about airfare. That's a long trip. Anyway, let's go to Mississippi. We begin with looking at, of the 4 categories, the guys who already have a card in our league with a different year. This is a nice Wayne Garrett card, but we have another card we believe is better in our league where he hits close to 300. Plus his defense is bad, but that's a fun card to have. You see Steeler even. Lefty who can hit lefties. I wouldn't mind if they switched back to this one, but it's okay to leave it the way it is. Carl Morton's got a nice card with set in 74. This is still good in 73. And lastly, Mike Caldwell, and Giants really should think about, they already have a really nice Caldwell 1974 card. This card pitched rather well. Now, statistically, it's not as good as the 74 card, but the 74 cards, he's stuck in the bullpen. 74 card, he's really devastating against lefties. Here, he's just kind of average. But as a starter, maybe the key is not that you switch cards, but you just let the guy start. Got to get him into the Giant rotation. Okay. Now the evaluation process. Beginning with Norm Cash, this is a no-brainer. This is his last year, I believe, and this is, yeah, exactly what you want. You want a one-way player who crushes the righties can still play first base a little bit. And all they got to do in Detroit is find a first baseman versus lefties now. Norm used to be that. He's not that anymore. Tim Foley is property of Toronto. He's pretty much a flat performer, very consistent performer, good with the glove at shortstop. Sometimes he can be a B-stealer, sometimes he hits 250. Here he does neither, so I might pick a different year. Frank Howard, is this his last hurrah? Yeah, pretty much. But this card against lefties, I think that should get him into the league as a DH somewhere. Perhaps in Detroit, where he would have been, right? Exactly. So you're looking at the 1973 Detroit platoon at first base. 2 guys who normally were always up for MVP consideration would now be teammates, splitting time at first base. That's how that could work. All right, next player, Mickey Stanley. He's got a couple options here. He's got a decent 75 and 76 card as well. Just want the great defense. Whatever he can bring you with a stick is a bonus. Nolan Ryan, this card played pretty well. His best years in California are 72 and 79. And then in 73, that's still a good year. This is a really nice year. Only 18 home runs allowed, and he doesn't walk too many guys yet. Eventually, those walks will lead to... Well, right now, this whip is 1.22, which is outstanding. Then it'll go through about 5 years where that whip, he walks so many guys, that whip climbs into the 135 range. And of course, by the time he gets to Houston, he's got that all corrected. Claude Osteen. Boy, what a great finish. He'll be done after 73 or 4, I forget which one. It's a year he pitches 200 innings, which I believe is this year. Or maybe it is 74. But he finished his career pitching 200 and some innings, and maybe it's this year. Either way, the cards will continue, whether it's this one or this one in next year's. Tom Walker, an Expo keeper. He's just an arm in the bullpen with a 3.62 ERA, but it's, that's decent. I mean, look, these players that I call keepers, they don't have to be first-round picks. They just have to be guys who make the squad, and that's what Walker is, a guy who makes the team. And lastly, Sparky Lyle. Yankees have a choice here between 73 and 76. I think the 76 Sparky Lyle wins a Cy Young. Tell you what, though, if you really had to take the 73 version, I wouldn't complain. That's a 102 whip for Sparky. And normally he's better against righties than lefties, but look at him against lefties, no extra base hits. So that's a really nice Sparky Lyle card. Now let's take a look at guys on waivers. We begin with Jack Deadblow Hammer. His defense is bad at second base. He can hit and run and has power. So that's what you got. You got a left-handed hitting second baseman with power who can hit and run, but the defense is bad, and I don't know. He's in a pool. He's just a guy in the infield at this point for somebody. Duffy Dyer's got a -2 arm that could certainly get him into the league, and he would be your catcher against lefties. And frankly, there's some good. So what I call good numbers here is he's awful against righties, but look at that percentage. It's really high, so the stats are going to look awful. 185. But if you just take care of business, which is bat him against lefties, -2 arm catcher, the only thing missing is power. He doesn't have it. But he very well, this is an example of how a 185 hitter makes it into the league, while 275 hitting corner outfielders do not. Ken McMullen, fascinating card. The quest was always for more power out of this guy when he was an Angel. Well, now he's got it, but now he's not a starter anymore. He's behind Ron Say in L.A. as a pinch hitter here. But 5 blasts and 85 at-bats will get you this card. If I have an expansion team, I jump on this. It's only a 1 year. He'll be in the league, I guarantee that, because there's only a 1 year contract. And he just crushes homers over there. And even against righties, you can make this an everyday player if you're in a really bad expansion team. Say Seattle Mariners, Arizona Diamondbacks, somebody like that. They'll jump on him. And Duke Sims was finally put on waivers by Cleveland. He had some really good cards in 69, 70, 71, 72, but now he's just a guy. A 245 hitter, we call him a left-handed hitting catcher with power, +2 arm. He's still can play the outfield with a -2 arm. I don't know if there's really enough production here against righties. That's an out, that's an out. So it's just not enough juice for Duke at this point. Name recognition might get him into the league if you're feeling lucky. If you've had luck with this guy in the past, then you keep running him back even though the statistics aren't there. All right, let's take a look at undrafted free agents. We have a very young Bill Stein. Actually, he's 26 in 73, so he's a late bloomer. He would become a very good utility player. Eventually, in 1981, he hits .330, and then he hits .300 the year after that, I think. He's got a couple 300 years in the early 80s. Here he's just getting his career on the ground, and there's not a lot going on other than some walks, which are interesting. A lot of positions, which is nice. This is a bad Gorman Thomas card. Even in a platoon, it wouldn't be that great. Just homer 1 double, double 5 out, 1 out. Don't like it. Mike Strahler, just a guy. He's good against righties, reasonably good. Bad against lefties, not going to work. Don Stanhouse, relief starter. Always walk guys. Very particular pitcher. Always pitched on the corners. Missed a lot of the time. Just not very reliable. Baltimore had him as a closer in 79, and then they let him go after that. 4.76 ERA. And lastly, we have the 5th category, which happens every once in a while. Jim Howarth is on the retired list. If you're wondering, what's the retired list? Well, it meant that he could have made waivers with his card, but I had too many guys on waivers. And the 200 average, he didn't make the waiver cut, so he gets pushed to the retirement cut. There's only about 11 guys on the retirement list. What you get out of this guy is great defense in the outfield, and that is all you get, isn't it? As great it would be and he's an E0 as well, so it gets even better. That's 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, 2 -1 E0 in the corner and 3 E0 in center field, a -1 arm. This, God, that offense is so bad. I mean, if this guy would hit 250, it'd be a no-brainer he'd be in the league. He's pretty close against righties. He's probably a 220 hitter. There's just nothing else to hang your hat on here, is there? Decent base runner. I wish if he was an A bunter or B hit and run or something like that, I don't know. Like I said, he's on the retired list. But we often pull guys out of retirement in our league. So I wouldn't dismiss that. And that's it. The next video we have in the Winter Baseball Classic will be the championship between Missoula in the Pacific Northwest and Halifax, Nova Scotia, and the Atlantic provinces. Boy, that'll be a travel nightmare in March. Stick around for that. That'll be the next video, and then the tournament will be over and we'll begin the drafting process. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next time.